Start by pulling up all the loops in your chains to where you are ready to start working the return pass. And then slide all of your stitches to the other end of your double-ended hook and then turn. Now grab your new ball of yarn in your contrasting color and just loop it around your hook like this. Then pull it through one loop. Make sure to grab only your working yarn and then repeatedly yarn over and pull through two loops. And yarn over and pull through two loops until you only have two loops left on your hook instead of one like usual. I'm going to show you a little trick here to keep our edges looking as neat as possible. So we are going to be using the gray color next, but we want that behind our work. So you just need to get it behind your work by pulling it to the back between those two loops. Grab both colors, yarn over, and pull through. Row 1 is complete, so now we are on row 2. So make sure you are grabbing your main color only. And we need to work our 2-stitch repeat of Tunisian knit stitch and reverse stitch, but since we are on the wrong side of our work, we need to work those in reverse. So for the reverse knit stitch, you are inserting your hook from the back to the front, moving your yarn under your hook and pulling up a loop. And then for the reverse stitch, you're working it kind of like a simple stitch. Then you have your yarn under your hook and pull through. And you just repeat those 2 stitches all the way across. Insert your hook into that very last stitch on the edge and pull up a loop. And now we need to work the return pass, but to do that, you need to slide your stitches all the way to the other end of your hook and then turn. We are going to do that little trick again to keep our edges looking as neat as possible. So take that last loop off of your hook to move your working yarn to the back, place the loops back on your hook, and then yarn over and pull through. And now work the return pass by repeatedly yarning over and pulling through 2 all the way across until there are 2 loops left on your hook, so we can work our little yarn trick again. It is not necessary to do that, but it will keep your edges looking neater. So again, I need my next color to the back by placing it between those last 2 loops, and then yarn over with both of those colors and pull through. Now we are ready to work the forward pass of our next row using our main color, and we are facing the right side of our work this time. And I made a mistake on my little swatch here. You're supposed to start with a Tunisian knit stitch, but I accidentally had a reverse stitch there. So ignore that. So you start with 1 Tunisian knit stitch, and then you work 1 Tunisian reverse stitch, and you repeat those 2 stitches all the way across, as long as the pattern you're following tells you to. And now I'm at that very last stitch on the edge, so insert your hook through those 2 loops, yarn over, and pull up a loop. And now I need to slide my work to the other end of my hook and then turn, so I'm facing the wrong side of my work now. And then we do our little yarn trick by pulling our hook out of those loops, moving our yarn to the back, putting the loops back on our hook, and now we're ready for the return pass by yarning over, pulling through 1, and then repeatedly yarning over and pulling through 2 until we have 2 loops left on our hook. All right, return pass is almost done. So we have 2 loops left on our hook. So we're doing the yarn trick again by removing that loop to get our yarn between those loops to the back of our work, putting the loop back on our hook, grabbing both colors of yarn, yarning over and pulling through those 2 loops. And now I am facing the wrong side of my work again, so then I work my stitches in reverse. So when you are facing the wrong side, you always work the stitches in reverse, and then when you're facing the right side of your work, you work your stitches normally. After working a few rows, you will start to see your faux brioche form.